Hello fellow mutants, welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to talk about kind of this spat that I had on TikTok, but it's not really, I'm not going to center around the spat, the spat per se, even though this is kind of the main topic. I'm going to focus more on the points that were made. And I'm going to let you guys hear the clip where it inspired this spat, but this will this video. My hope is it will ultimately explain why I'm so against Rey using the Skywalker name, and more so, I was hoping she would carry out Leia's teachings by don't be afraid of who you are, and by choosing the name Palpatine, trying to bring honor back to her family name. But here we go.
Hello there. If Rey is not a Skywalker, then Han is not a Solo.
And so my argument was, well, I'll count her as a Palpatine because of her bloodline. As much as she wants to adopt the name Skywalker, she is really a Palpatine. And then this one person said, tell that to every single person who was adopted after being dumped by their biological family. They might punch you though, so be careful, LOL. First off, I have a best friend that's adopted. I take the back. Not a best friend, a few best friends. And my statement wasn't directed towards, oh, if you're adopted, you're technically not that family name. That's not my argument. Because the people who are adopted, which I also bring up Leia in here, because she's a case. Technically, they were adopted at a really young age. They did not have any say-so. Really. Rey had a say-so. She chose the name Skywalker. Pretty much not really going into Leia's lesson about don't be afraid of who you are, Rey. And that's one of the issues that I have. And I'm quickly scrolling down because this has a lot of replies. But I did bring up Leia, and as well. And he said it's interesting you bring up Leia. She refused to use her birth name even after figuring out she was one, which was Skywalker. He's referring to Skywalker, and continued using Organa, then Solo. And my argument with the whole Leia situation, which is kind of what I was trying to explain earlier, she might have been in Bloodline or Skywalker. She might have been in Bloodline Skywalker. I'm not arguing that. But the reason why Leia most likely kept on using Organa besides Skywalker, because not so much because everybody at that point knew that she was Organa. She was everybody knew her as Leia Organa. But I doubt that's the reason why. I have faith that the reason why she chose to keep the name Organa is because she was adopted, right? And so Organa was technically her legal name. Is her legal name. Now, yes, she could have. Now, there's the plot hole where you guys can say, well, seeing how she was royalty and seeing how she was rich, she was royalty by her adopted family, she could have technically legally changed her name. And yes. But still, And I'm gonna give you guys that she could have technically, with how rich she was. And I don't know if the destruction of Ultron affected her finances in any way, but yeah, if you said, well, she could have technically changed her name with how rich she was, technically yes. But with like Leia, the scenario with Leia, she was adopted. So I have faith that's why she is. She has the reason why she keeps the name Organa. And so that's I'm going like, and there's probably times when people found like she did say, yeah, I'm the my adopted parents might be Bail Organa, and I don't know his wife's name, but she might have said to some people, but technically my birth parents are the Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker and the senator who was queen at one point of Naboo, Padme Amidala. So Leia did not really have much of a choice in her last name per se. At first, granted that yeah, she could have legally changed her name, but at the same time, she probably did not want to legally change her name because her adopted parents were blown up by the Empire. I know that I kind of contradicted my point, but with Leia, yeah, she was adopted. So in this scenario, Leia gets a pass with not using Skywalker. And then there's this other guy that says, I'm going to use jump cut right now, so. Okay, so then this person said, so Leia Amidala then, Han, Ben Kenobi doesn't exist? There's no Rex or Cody, just CT, their numbers. There's no Finn, just FN2187. Okay. With Finn, he was given that name from Poe, because FN2187, who wants to say that all the time? Now, granted that, yeah, we just got done with the sequel trilogy not too long ago. Regardless of how you feel about it, we could easily get something where Finn goes back, tries to do whatever the Star Wars equivalent to Ancestry, to look for his birth parents. Is his birth name Finn? I highly doubt it. But he's using Finn because it's more convenient than saying FN2187 all the time. And at the moment, he does not know his family heritage. Rey does. Finn has an excuse in this case. At least more of a reasonable excuse than Rey for going with Finn than Rey goes with Skywalker. Now, like I said, we just got done with the sequel trilogies. About this time last year, December of 2019. So we can technically, in like comic books, get adventures, or just books, get adventures of Finn trying to find his heritage. I mean, we got teased that one girl that Lando talked to at the end of Rise of Skywalker that was First Order like Finn, that Lando was going to help her find her heritage. So, who knows? Maybe Lando will help Finn as well. So, like I said, at least with Finn, he has an excuse. And who knows? Maybe he will pick up. Maybe he will pick up his last name and use Finn as saying, "Yeah, Finn is a nickname. I'd rather go with my birth name," or "I'm so used to recalling Finn that I'm going to use my first name as my middle name." But regardless, I have faith relations with Finn, he will actually use his last name, at the very least. If he ever finds out his heritage. Once he finds out his last name, if that ever happens. With Cody and Rex, the reason why they went with their names besides their numbers and with the entire clone army is so they can have their own personalities. None of the clones had their actual names. I bet even Boba Fett, since he wanted to bring Captain Rex and Cody, I bet he even had a number. Boba Fett, yes, was a non-altered clone for Jango to take in as son. But I bet he even had a number. The clones and the clones troopers, because Boba got the name because of Jango, but the clone troopers gave themselves names to give themselves a sense of identity, so they can feel more human-like, so they won't feel like machines. So bringing Commander Cody and Captain Rex. No, just watch the Clone Wars. Leia Amidala, that's stupid. I mean, yes, she might be at Amidala descent, but if you know anything about bloodline, about mom, two people getting together, making love, and then the woman giving, there's a baby crate in the side of a woman that she eventually after 9 months gives birth. In Seahorse's case, it's the males, but the descendant takes on the father's role. Unless they do not, unless of those unique circumstances where the mother didn't know she was pregnant, who's impregnating her, that's one of the rare times where the baby takes on the mother's last name. But outside of those, the baby, the child, the son, the boy or girl, whoever comes out of the mother, takes on the father's last name. The only character I'll give you guys credit in the Star Wars universe that you guys can do that, say, well, there's a character that went by their mother's last name, Anakin, because he had no father. There's some theories that Palpatine conceived, manipulated the Force, but then by then he might as well be called Anakin Palpatine. But Smee did not know. For Smee, it was just Anakin was a miracle baby. She did not sleep with anyone. She just became pregnant. So the whole Anakin Skywalker excuse, Anakin is the only example where you can say, "What I'll give you fully." Han, I'm going to use the same excuse as I have with Finn. Yes, in Solo, a Star Wars story, Han claimed that he doesn't have family. Maybe his parents died when he was really young. Maybe he never knew his last name. Now, yeah, he got the name Solo for escaping Corellia. And yeah, he might have died with the name Solo, and he might have had in Legends and canon, children with the last name Solo. If we're keeping it canon, he could have still went by potentially try to find his heritage, his parents. Would he have had no luck? Probably not in his case. But Finn, I have faith that he might have more luck than Han in locating his heritage. Han could have easily tried to look for his heritage, to find his people, as he called it in a Solo Star Wars story. and probably failed. So he just, and since Han Solo, I bet, here's my theory, he never found his family. So, and since Solo was given to him, and Han Solo just rolled off the tongue good, just roll with that. But there's nothing to say that Han Solo did not try to look for his heritage at all in the Star Wars universe. And same could be said about Finn. We could still get stories about Han trying to look for his heritage, Finn trying to look for his heritage, Han failing, Finn succeeding. Actually, Finn was like the most interesting character in the sequel trilogy for me. Yes, they underutilized him in my opinion, but still. And then Ben Kenobi. They said Ben Kenobi doesn't exist. The reason why Obi-Wan Kenobi used the name Ben was to help him hide from the Empire, to protect Luke, so there will be less likely of a chance to put the Lars family and Luke Skywalker, who was like a baby at the time, who eventually, like at the age of 1920, went off to rescue his sister. He didn't know who was his sister at the time. The reason why Obi-Wan took the name Ben was to deflect any Imperial detection. My favorite book, one of my favorite books of all time, debatably my favorite book in the Star Wars universe, which is counted as Legends, is Kenobi. It explains where he got the name Ben from. And in that book, they've acknowledged there's a lot of Kenobis out there. So Obi-Wan could have, Obi-Wan was good keeping his last name. But the only reason why he changed his last name was to dodge any Imperial control, like Imperial sniffles. Because who knows when Obi-Wan found out that Anakin survived his injuries on Mustafar. Yes, he might have said Vader killed his Anakin, but he knew that Anakin turned into Darth Vader. So who knows when he found out that Anakin was alive, survived his injuries on Mustafar. And maybe he didn't want to take that chance that, by the off chance that Anakin somehow survived, was in that Kenobi book. He strongly believes that Anakin is dead. At least that's what I got. But at least, he did not want the Emperor to find out about Luke, or to find out that he was alive. So that's why he took the name Ben. Now, and before you guys say anything, with the Jedi of the Clone Wars era, or the prequel era, I should say, the Jedi was taken from their family when they were infants, babies, for the most part. Anakin Skywalker and Plo Koon were two of the few exceptions to the rule, and I believe Ahsoka Tano, but they were taken at a young age. So Anakin, they already knew his bloodline, his last name and stuff, but the other Jedi, who was taken when they were younglings, I'm willing to bet you that the Jedi Order already knew that person's last name, as well as their first name. Hence, there's Obi-Wan Kenobi, Mace Windu, Kanan Jarrus, Caleb Dune, I think is his actual name, Ayla Secura, Ahsoka Tano, Ki-Adi Mundi, etc. And then this same person who was making the whole Leia, Amidala, Han, Ben doesn't exist, there's no Rex or Cody, just their clone names, and there's no Finn, there's just his first order name. He also makes this argument saying, But he's not Obi-Wan for 20 years. He lives on Tatooine as Ben. If you can't accept that, you should be able to accept that Rey is a Skywalker. Like I said, Obi-Wan, the reason why Obi-Wan did change his name to Ben was to freaking protect himself. And Obi-Wan, and Luke, and Lars. So the Imperials, the Emperor, Darth Sidious, wouldn't find him on Tatooine and kill him, and the Lars, and Luke. That's the reason why I can't accept Obi-Wan changed his name. And, well, that and to preserve the Jedi Order, because as far as I'm aware, Obi-Wan only knew that him and Yoda survived Order 66. He didn't know whether or not Ezra survived Order 66. I don't know if he knew that, was I faith that he knew, but that Darth Maul was essentially a survivor. Even though he was Sith Lord, but still, I don't know. Rey, the reason why I'm having a hard time accepting Rey as doing the whole Skywalker thing, that Palpatine thing, because earlier in the movie, early in Rise of Skywalker, one of the few times where I actually call Episode 9 by the actual name of the movie, is because earlier in that movie, Leia said, "Don't be afraid of who you are." The first chance that she got to honor Leia's memory, she's like, "Fuck you, I'm not gonna do that. I'm Rey Skywalker." And then the same guy said, "But she didn't." But then I said, Rey had a really good chance to take on her birth name and to bring honor to the Palpatine name. And I still stand by that statement. But then he said, but she didn't. She took her teacher's last name because she is a living legacy. At that point, both Leia and Luke were dead. How were they living legacies? They were both dead. They were Force ghosts. They weren't living. Unless you count living as ghosts as a Force ghost as living, but do you really consider Force ghosts as living beings? I don't think most people would consider Force ghosts as living beings. But she wasn't alive. She was dead. She was in between. She was in the netherworld of the Force with her brother. I think that throws out the window the living part to living legacy. And if she wanted to honor the living legacy that was Leia and Luke, her two Jedi Masters, as I said before, as I said later on, she could still honor Luke's legacy, and I meant to say Leia's, but TikTok has it doesn't let you go, it only lets you have a limited amount of words. But I said she could still bring honor to Luke's legacy, and I also implying Leia's, by bringing back the Jedi and calling a specific move Skywalker after Luke and Leia. And that was a reply to, I'm saying we should accept that she did, instead of whining like children about the name someone else goes by. So that means that we can have Shuri, the T'Challa's brother, Black Panther. That means that Shuri can easily say, I'm Shuri Stark. Or I'm Shuri Rogers. That's what you're saying. That if they had Shuri take on the name Rogers or Stark in honor of Iron Man and Captain America, we should accept that. You're saying that with the MCU Spider-Man, that if Peter Parker took on the name Stark, we should accept that. Like, that would be stupid, to be honest, if Shuri or Peter Parker took on the name Stark. Try to honor Tony Stark. Peter Stark. Shuri Stark. Like, I'm not saying that there can't be a Shuri Stark or a Peter Stark. I'm just saying that it would be stupid if Shuri, Black Panther's sister, who might be Black Panther, T'Challa's sister, who might be the new Black Panther in Black Panther 2, by some rumors, or Peter Parker, who is known as Spider-Man, takes on the name Stark. Just because, to honor their Tony Stark's memory. Might as well have had Tony have a son named Peter Stark besides having Morgan Stark, or just renamed Morgan Stark to Shuri Stark if you're going to have that. Or have Tony Stark have another daughter, name her Shuri. Might as well have it like that. Might as well write in that Tony Stark had 2 other children or another child. If you're gonna play that route. And here's the thing. Just because you're a fan of something doesn't mean that you have to be okay with every single move that they make. I am not a big fan of Rey taking on the Skywalker name. After, literally not too long after Leia saying, "Don't be afraid of who you are." You just undermined what your last Jedi Master said. In a way. Now I do hope that we get a book or a comic book that Rey will say, I'm going to take on the Palpatine name. I'm going to try to bring honor back to the whole Palpatine name. I would like that better. And my father tried to defend her taking the Skywalker name after I saw the Rise of Palpatine with my father. I forgot what he said, but it's stupid. I'm not big. I don't know. Just no. I would have been okay with her being a Skywalker, taking the name Skywalker, if her father was Luke or her mother was Leia. Like, if she had Skywalker blood in her. Let's see what, let's see what the comment says. Okay, so there's this one person said, "I see you don't understand. Those names don't come from another family. They made those names while Rey ripped off the Skywalker name." Thank you! Thank you! Somebody's backing me up! Somebody's getting my point! And then he also said to the person that, with the whole, Leia, Amidala, the clone not having the names, and Finn, that also, don't you dare use the clones for excuse. They deserve better. Also, Rey is not the living legacy of Skywalker. It's Luke, the man who saved Vader and destroyed the Empire. I feel even Kylo Ren, did more in The Rise of Skywalker. And then the person who made that the horrible clone Finn, Leia, Han excuse. I said what I said. What I said. CT the clone numbers will all happily call Rey a Skywalker. She didn't rip. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Sadly, I have to agree with. Sadly, the only decent point she makes is Ben is dead. That's a fact. And she said, she's the only thing Luke is survived by. Oh, I gotta type inside. I guess R2, D2, and C. I'm literally typing this out as I'm doing this. C3PO doesn't count then, as Legacy's Luke left. And the reason why I'm saying that, because R2 stood, hung around Luke a lot. Yes, we saw C3PO and R2 in the prequels. But you can, in a way, say that 3PO and R2 are, at least, have some part of Luke's legacy with them. C3PO cherished Luke a lot. Which is why when we saw Luke's looking at, winking at 3PO at the end of Last Jedi, 3PO says, Master Luke. Because, yeah, C3PO has a lot of respect, a lot of admiration, a lot of warm, good feelings for Luke. That's, in my opinion, one of, Luke's legacies. Even though, Anakin built 3PO, and that's C3PO is part of Anakin's Anakin's legacy as well. But still, you get what I mean, right? 3PO and R2 is still they're part of Luke's legacy in a way. And I said, Luke is also dead. Han and Leia are dead. She is the last living being who be taught by the names for the Skywalker name. So that means, oh Lord, I had a karate teacher. I'm not gonna say his first name, but his last name was Niprath. Let's say he died. Oh, thank you, Nemo. Let's say I just found out that he sadly died. Does that mean... and he has no children either, as far as I'm concerned. He has no descendants. Does that mean, since I was a student, since I was part of his legacy, then I will have to change my last name to Niprath. I'm Phil Niprath now. As much respect as I have to that person, even if I didn't know my last name, I wouldn't try to rip off another person's last name. Or, I should say that, I'll gotta backtrack for a second. If I just found out my birth family's last name, I wasn't adopted. My karate teacher, that I mentioned not so long ago, just, sadly passed away. I would not steal his last name. I would still keep on using my birth last name. I would honor his legacy by passing on what I've learned, what he taught me to other people who wants to learn how to defend themselves. But I will not disrespect him like that. I will not disrespect him like that by stealing his last name. My God. And this person was, I am backing up so much with this like counterpoint to this like focused person's point. He says, with like and he's a Skywalker, another Skywalker that fell to the darkness but raised up again as a Skywalker, saved the galaxy. But then they just killed him. Talk about Luke with a second him. I like this person's argument, and I like not the one that like followed mine, but the one that was trying to make excuses for Rey choosing Skywalker. Like, if you're gonna if you're gonna try to win me over, make me try to get me to favor Rey Skywalker over Rey Palpatine, then give me good, solid arguments. Don't give me this mumbo jumbo shit. Like this person said. At the end of the day, I still stand by Rey should have took the name Palpatine at the end. If you want to say what the rise of Skywalker was, then say Ben freaking Solo. Kylo Ren was a Skywalker that rose. Yeah, he might not be Skywalker like in terms of last name, but he's the son of Leia, who's the daughter of Anakin, the granddaughter of Shmi. And you guys should have had Ben Solo live. I am still on that. Ben Solo should have lived. You could have had like a what if scenario through Ben Solo. Like, what if Anakin Skywalker lived at the end of Return of the Jedi? You could have had that scenario, that like mini story arc, play out through Ben Solo, who wanted to be like his grandfather, Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker. He could have easily been the Skywalker that rose, that you were referring to. But instead, the movie was referring to Rey, who wasn't even a Skywalker. Who's not even a Skywalker. She's a fucking Palpatine. And, like I said, if you guys want to try to change my mind, please tell me that in the comment section. But if you guys want to get into debates why you guys think Rey's a Skywalker, I'll tell you guys my side. Why I feel like Rey, I will argue my side. Why I'm saying I feel like Rey should have kept the name Palpatine besides stealing the name Skywalker. Or, stealing, I'm trying to... And he even said, the person who has similar viewpoints to my size, he said she was trained for like a month. Yeah, and I agree. With Luke, at least, she was trained for like about a month. With Leia, okay, I'll give you guys. She could have been trained more than a month. Point being, she wasn't trained long. But yeah, Rey did rip off the Skywalker name. So I know this is a long ass video. But that is all the reasons why I simply cannot accept Rey as a Skywalker. Because she's ripping off the Skywalker name. She knew her lineage was Palpatine. And the moment where she could easily honor her master's teachings, don't be afraid of who you are, she pretty much gives Leia a hypothetical smack to the face saying, yeah, bitch, no, why? Bitch, please, no. I'm gonna go with Skywalker. No, what? No, what? Now, the galaxy could may have known that Leia and Luke were brother and sister, but still, Rey should have kept the Palpatine name. Could have been a really good redemption arc for the Palpatine name, saying, yeah, my grandfather might be a douchebag, and he might have done a lot of evil in his life, but I'm not Chief Palpatine. I'm Rey Palpatine. I'm not evil like my grandfather. And hopefully we'll get in some form in the future that Rey eventually switched her name from Rey Skywalker to Rey Palpatine. Because I feel like that would be truly honoring what Leia taught her. And like I said, if she wants to honor the Skywalkers, invent a move. Make up a move with freaking lightsabers. Excuse me. And call it the Skywalker. Do you guys really think, and I'm getting my Jedi Path book, so jump cut. Do you guys really think that Form 4, which is called Atari, which is the fighting style that we see Yoda do you really think that somebody... My point is, because I'm trying to put my thoughts into words properly. Somebody invented that step by step. Atari is a acrobatic type skill. It didn't just come over overnight. And I bet it took a while for them to think of either the name and the fighting style. Same with what's another one? I believe Form 1 is the way of the Sarlacc, if I remember correctly. Jump cut again. I don't want to jump cut. Yeah, way of the Sarlacc. Yeah, it says also known as the determination form or the way of the Sarlacc. Form 1 is the most basic form. We see Luke do it, use that form in New Hope. Also, Obi-Wan win his match against Vader in A New Hope. That's the most basic lightsaber form. The name and the moves did not develop overnight. It took time. If Rey really wanted to honor the Skywalker legacy, then she could breathe new life into the Jedi Order. And also, maybe even create a move, like I said. And before I finish my point I was going to make, they even said additional lightsaber techniques. And one of them is developing your own style. I'm taking it from the Jedi Path. If you developing your own style, it's on page 139. If you guys want to fact check me. Do you think there is not only like 6 forms a Jedi can use? 7 with some Jedi. 7th form is like only a few Jedi uses because it taps into the dark side. But I bet through developing your own style, as 139 suggests, to 140, people eventually made new styles too. All the 7 styles and maybe more. Even Fame, which I believe is Count Dooku's master, or one of Count Dooku's master. Fame was one of Yoda's Padawans at the very least. But yeah, Yoda was essentially Count Dooku's master, at least towards the end of his Jedi training. But even Fame said, I like to make my own style. Think I'll get a training droid that's programmed for all of these. So they even hint that a Jedi wanted to make his own freaking style. So, like I said, that's also another way Rey could honor the Skywalkers. Make up her own style. Call it Skywalker. There we go. That's a good way to honor this Han and Leia. Luke and Leia. There we go. So, I'm hoping in some sort of future content, Rey will go back saying, as much as I respect the Skywalkers, I need to go back to my birth name, Palpatine. I know my grandfather was a douchebag, and everybody associates the name Palpatine in a negative way. Let me be the one who tries to change people's minds, showing people that not all Palpatines are bad, not all Palpatines are evil, not all Palpatines are psychopaths. So, let me know what you guys side with. Rey Skywalker or Rey Palpatine? Rey Palpatine or Rey Skywalker? And tell me why you guys feel are siding with Rey Palpatine or Rey Skywalker in the comments section down below. That said, I love you all. Have a wonderful day. And may the Force be with us all. And be kind to one another.